Looks like the Red Sox are adding some right-handed power. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. The Red Sox made a signing. They're starting to polish off their 2024 roster, and it's definitely not the signing we've all been hoping we would see at some point this spring, but this is still an interesting one nonetheless. This morning, the Red Sox signed Cron to a deal, and I think this could actually have a pretty significant impact on the 2024 roster. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to break this signing down. We're going to talk about the contract itself, whether or not this was a good or bad one. We're going to talk about why the Red Sox were interested in Cron, and we're going to talk about what kind of role he could have on the 2024 roster. But before we get into that, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. We're about 400 subs away, so if you're new here and you'd like to help us get there, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you guys have hit that like button as well. It helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start by breaking down the actual contract itself. Now, there's a couple things we don't know, at least at the time of this recording, and that is the actual years and dollar values of this deal. Once I get that information, as soon as I do, I will make sure it's in the pinned comment in the comment section down below. Either that or I'll just edit it right into this video right here. Okay, so if I did not do that, because we don't know the exact length and the exact dollar amount of this contract, it's going to make it a little bit difficult to actually tell you whether or not this is a good deal for the Red Sox or come to some conclusion here. But there is one important detail about this contract that we do know, and I think it's going to have a massive impact on whether or not this contract itself is successful, and that is the fact that this is a minor league deal, very similar to what Garrett Cooper got with the Chicago Cubs that we know the Red Sox were in contention for up until the very end. So my guess is that monetarily this contract doesn't exceed $3 million, probably a little bit less than that, and my guess is that this is for a one-year deal as a non-roster invite to spring training. Now, this makes this contract really interesting because this doesn't guarantee Cron a spot on the Major League roster. What this means is that he's going to have to fight his way onto this team, and for the Red Sox, this virtually makes it no risk, right? If Cron comes into spring training and he's sucking it up and he doesn't look like he's turned a corner or gotten back to his old self, all they have to do is stash him away in the minors because it's a minor league deal. Now, there are probably opt-outs, so you have a bit of a clock on this, but you could stash him in the minors and see if he can get back to himself in a bigger sample size and then eventually bring him up to the Major League team. And if that doesn't work out, well, then you lose what, $1 million, $2 million in the grand scheme of things as a Major League club. That's really not a whole lot of money. So when I'm looking at this deal, even though I don't know the exact years or the exact dollar amount, I think it's a pretty solid risk take for the Boston Red Sox because there virtually is none. And when there's really no risk involved with a contract, it's usually a pretty big win. But the question is, why were the Red Sox interested in Cron in the first place? Well, that answer all comes on the offensive side of things. Last year, Cron in his age 33 season didn't exactly have a fantastic year. He played for both the Rockies and the Angels in 2023, and he put up a .248 average with a .295 on base percentage and a .434 slug, which was good for just an 87 OPS plus, or about 17% below league average production. But he's not very far removed from being a very productive player in Major League Baseball. In fact, 2 years ago in 2022, he was really solid, posting a .257 average with a .315 on base percentage and a .468 slug, which was good for a 108 OPS plus. He also hit 29 home runs and 102 RBIs. That's a really productive season from Cron. And overall in his career, in which he spent, I believe it was 10 years at the Major League level in parts of seasons or in full seasons, he has a career .260 average with a .320 on base percentage and a .471 slug, which is good for a 111 OPS plus, meaning that over his career, he's been a pretty well above average producer at the plate. rate by about 11% more than what the average player in Major League Baseball does. He also has that type of swing that's made for Fenway Park. You know what I'm talking about with those big right-handers, sort of like an Adam Duvall type, Hunter Renfroe type, that just absolutely pulled baseballs and utilize the monster to just demolish baseballs, right? He just has that type of swing, and it's actually backed up a little bit when you take a look at what he's done at Fenway Park in the past. It is a bit of a small sample size, only 16 games, but in those 16 games, he has a 328 average, a 377 on base percentage, and a 656 slug, good for an impressive 1.033 OPS and a 157 OPS plus, 57% more productive than the average hitter in Major League Baseball. Imagine what that could look like over the course of 80 games at Fenway. It's pretty easy when you take a look at what CJ Cron has been able to do, how his profile fits on this team, to figure out why the Red Sox were interested in bringing him to the Boston Red Sox, especially when you're talking about a minor league no-risk type contract. This could be the right-handed power bat that the Red Sox have been looking for a bit. That guy who could come off the bench every once in a while when there's a tough lefty or anything like that and give you that power production that you'd be missing if you were to shake up your lineup a little bit. So from the offensive side of things, it's pretty obvious, in my opinion, why the Red Sox went after CJ Cron. Now, there is some risk involved with CJ, and it has to do with injuries. CJ, over the last year or so, has really been dealing with injuries that kept him off the field and limited him to just 71 games last year. He had back issues that repeatedly put him onto the IL at different points this season, and going into his age 34 year, obviously that injury risk multiplies every single season exponentially until eventually you're out of the game, right? So there is that risk involved with CJ Cron. It's probably a big reason why he didn't end up with a major league contract, but for the Red Sox, that risk is minimized a little bit because over the last couple of years, CJ's been asked to be an everyday starter, whether it was with the Angels or whether it was with the Rockies. With the Red Sox, he's not going to be that guy, right? In all actuality, he's probably going to be asked to be in about 71, maybe 85 games over the course of the 2024 season, and this may help him, one, limit his injury risk and limit his ability to get injured, but two, allow him the opportunity to ensure he's doing all the right things at every checkpoint here to make sure that he stays healthy during the season. So yes, there is an injury history with CJ Cron, but again, you go back to that being a minor league deal and you go into what he could be for the Red Sox, and again, that risk gets a whole lot smaller. Now, if we're looking at what type of role CJ Cron is looking to fill, we had a video yesterday where we talked about why Bobby Dalbec could actually be important to the 2024 team. I think this signing puts that basically immediately in jeopardy. It happens like once an off season, twice an off season, where I make a video and then immediately something happens to completely change the landscape of that. CJ Cron is that guy. He's probably going to go head to head with Bobby Dalbec for that right-handed power bench spot during the 2024 season, as well as that backup first baseman, which again was Bobby Dalbec's spot to lose, at least up until this point. I'm super curious to see how this one ends, and it's definitely a battle I'm going to be keeping an eye on, because what do the Red Sox do? Do they go with Bobby Dalbec, who has less proven major league success, but a lot more defensive versatility, also a little bit younger and a little bit less injuries, or they go with CJ Cron, who maybe is a little bit older, maybe does have that injury risk a little bit, but he has that proven major league success under his belt to the point where he was an all-star at various points during his career, right? That's a little bit of an interesting battle to me, and if I were the Red Sox, I love Bob, but I think I go with CJ Cron here. Again, because of the role that you were trying to fill, that right-handed power bench bat, CJ Cron is really great when it comes to right-handed power. He's also had that proven experience. Potential is great, potential is awesome, but you got to go out there and prove it, and CJ's been able to do that, and I think that's why I give the edge to CJ Cron in this battle. But if we're talking about the role the Red Sox are expecting CJ to fill, it's exactly what we talked about with Bobby Dalbec yesterday. That right-handed power bench bat that you can utilize against either tough lefties, or maybe you just need Tyler O'Neill or Von Grissom, or someone isn't giving you the power that you need to get in that lineup. You could throw them in there every once in a while and try and get this lineup back on track, or try and beat one of those tough lefties in Major League Baseball. overall, when looking at this deal, I actually really like it. Going into the offseason, I really wasn't a fan of the Red Sox pursuing CJ Cron, mostly because of that back injury and mostly because the fact that, one, Teoscar Hernandez and Jorge Soler were still available, but two, I expected him to sign a major league deal. That's a lot of risk for a 34-year-old who's coming off all those back injuries and who really isn't super versatile defensively. But again, I go back to the fact that this is a minor league contract. This is zero risk for the Boston Red Sox, and all of a sudden, this looks a whole lot better, right? This looks like a signing that could be a really interesting one in terms of the grand scheme of the 2024 season. It also points to the fact that the Red Sox just don't have faith in Bobby Dahlbeck being able to fill that role. Cron has the experience at the major league level, and again, he just flat out mashes at Fenway Park and just has a swing built for Fenway. I mean, just to re-emphasize this a little bit, take a look at what his spray chart looks like from 2023 if overlaid on Fenway. Look at all those gray outballs that looked like they would have been in the monster, over the monster, or off against the monster, and his season probably looks a whole lot better if he gets 81 games under his belt at Fenway Park. Obviously, he wouldn't play in all those 81 games, but you understand what I'm saying here. The fit makes sense on the minor league deal specifically, and no, this is not the splashy signing, the one that's going to all of a sudden say, hey, maybe the Red Sox could be a legitimate competitor this year. That still entails signing Jordan Montgomery, which I'm still holding out hope for. So no, it's not that splashy signing, but again, I think it has the opportunity to be a really interesting one, and I actually do think this could have some impact as we go forward in 2024, especially obviously if he's able to beat out Bobby Dahlbeck for this sort of last bench spot power bat role. But that's just my opinion, so let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this? What do you think of the Red Sox signing power hitter CJ Cron in the comment section down below? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know all your thoughts. Also, you made it to the end here. You might as well help us get to 10,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, if you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys hit the like button on this video as well. Really helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.